Hi, everyone. I'm Melissa Braun with Grant Wilfley Casting. Joining me today is,
Hi, I'm Swati, and I'm a casting assistant with GWC.
and this week we're going to be talking about avoiding scams, particularly in casting. So first we just wanted to talk about potential scams in casting platforms. So while there are a variety of third-party casting platforms that are legitimate and that we and other casting companies use, there are some scam companies out there that we wanted to warn you about. Swati, why don't you go over the ones that we actually work with often?
Yes, so some of the third-party platforms we do use include Actors Access, Breakdown, Backstage, Casting Networks, and Sourcing Cast, and all of those are legit.
Yeah. So all of those are platforms that agents may pay to subscribe to and casting directors actively post on to reach talent. However, there are some, not the ones we just named, that will just copy and paste a casting notice from another source, like perhaps we put one on social media. They'll put it on their website and then they will charge talent access to their site to see these casting notices. So they're not casting notices that the casting director placed with this company. They're ones that they took from somewhere else and are republishing them and then charging a fee for kind of gatekeeping the information when a lot of it could be gotten free if people can find the casting company's website or social media. So that is something to be aware of. If we discover companies like this reposting our notices, we do reach out and ask them to take them down. There shouldn't be a paywall to see what we post on social media. Like you should just be able to go to our Facebook and Instagram and see it yourself firsthand. Any castings you see that says you have to pay a company to be considered or cast in the project is most likely a scam. Swati, do you want to expand on that a little bit?
Yes, so sometimes there will be companies that are like unscrupulous, maybe charging you to have professional headshots done for consideration. But to be clear, like you don't have to have a professional headshot to submit for background work. Like you can submit using your own photos.
Correct. You can just submit a current selfie is enough for background work. And while you may want a professional headshot to be considered for principal work, there are many photographers out there who will take professional headshot photos and they have nothing to do with casting itself. They're a separate professional entity. Another thing people should be aware of is avoiding cyber scams. They're very prevalent. People get scam calls, texts, and emails every day. And the first thing you always want to do when you receive an email, especially one where you're kind of second guessing, what is it asking me to do? Check the email address. And all Grant Wolfley casting communication should come via one of two email addresses. All of our staff and projects are assigned an at gwcnyc.com email address. For example, the film Non-View is nonview at gwcnyc.com. However, if we are emailing people through our database, the end of the email might be at inbound.gwci.app. That's an auto email address generated through our email servers that connect to our database. So that's another email address that you might receive. Those are our official email addresses. You can click on the email address at the top of the email to confirm you can view the full email address to make sure it is coming from at gwcnyc.com or at inbound.gwci.app to make sure it's actually coming from us. That's the first thing you can do. If there's a link in the email and you're concerned about it, or, just to be safe, hover your mouse over that link and the web address, the full web address should pop up. On Chrome, it pops up in the lower left hand of your browser window. And then you can check, what is this link's web address? Does it look legit? If Grant Wilfley requests a self-tape, we may possibly share a drive link to allow you to upload your video directly to Dropbox or maybe a Google Drive folder. So just be aware of those things. If they seem odd, question them. Be careful of attachments because even PDFs can have secret embedded malware. But do be aware that for grant monthly casting purposes, we may be sending an attached PDF that includes directions to get to a fitting, or it might have reference photos for hair, makeup, and wardrobe, so you have a better idea. So again, just double check that that email is coming officially from us. You just want to double check anything you open, basically.
So the same cautiousness that applies to emails should be extended to texts. You should probably, when receiving a text, confirm that it is coming from GWCI. You can refer to the signature of older booking emails to make sure the email signature should contain the names of the people on a project, and the body of the email will typically contain the names and phone numbers that you will be receiving texts from. Phishing emails have gotten really advanced nowadays. And so if someone is texting you with just zero context, and it says, hey, work tomorrow, then that's a little suspicious, especially because we at Grant Wolfley try to identify ourselves like, hi, my name is Swati. Are you available to work tomorrow for this project, for this role that you submitted for? So yeah, and refer to the casting notices that you did submit for, make sure the role matches, it lines up with the inquiry that you're receiving via text. And just be smart about making sure all of your communications are consistent.
We forgot to mention in our original recording, so I wanted to insert it here, that we can also text anyone registered in our database via gwci.app as well. So we have a third-party texting service. We can message people through the database if they have notifications enabled. But again, if you receive a text via gwci.app, it would still identify that it is coming from Grant Wolfley Casting. It would also identify the project we are reaching out about. Also, be careful of unusual requests. For example, a casting director should not be requesting the submission of nude photos. So if a role requires nudity or for people to be scantily clad in a scene on camera, casting may request people submit photos of themselves in bathing suits or body conscious clothing, maybe biker shorts and a sports bra or something like that, but no photos containing full nudity. Those should not be solicited.
Yeah, and in addition to the requests of unusual photos, sometimes Grant Wolfley will have to request sensitive information like social security numbers when we need to fill out a Taft-Hartley form to waiver someone in. And we usually give you the option of texting or calling us with that information. So that is something that you would definitely want to double check that the assistant or associate who is texting you matches the email signature of the project that you are submitting for.
Exactly. We do not recommend emailing social security numbers to anyone. So we definitely prefer either text or we can have a verbal conversation to go over with it. And again, Taft-Hartley forms are a SAG-AFTRA requirement when we are requesting a non-SAG person to work in a SAG-covered spot. So we don't really have a choice. If you're working as SAG and we have to request a Taft-Hartley for you, we do need your social security number to process that. Basically, the things to keep in mind is whatever communication you're receiving, wherever you're going to look for casting notices, is it a trusted source? Is it a known platform? Be aware because there's a lot of scams going around. We even had an employee not that long ago get a text that was supposedly from me that said, hi, this is Melissa Braun. First of all, I would never text them with my full name because I know everybody very well who works for us. This is Melissa Braun, and I need you to go buy me gift cards and all this nonsense. And, obviously, right away, the person recognized this was a scam, not only because that wasn't my phone number that was being texted, but also I would never be so odd and formal and request gift cards. But people can easily be tricked by a variety of situations, and everybody should really be aware.
Yep. And if you ever are questioning a message you received from us, you can reach out via phone, text, or email to any of our staff to verify the instructions that you received, especially because a lot of you may have worked before and might already have some of our numbers saved, and then we can pass on the request.
So thanks for joining us. Hopefully you found this informative and helpful.